All right, cool. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Nebulum Podcast. On this podcast, we talk about fulfillment, and our goal is to inspire people to walk a path of fulfillment. So, if you're tired of mundane life, this podcast is for you. If you want more excitement and more passion and more alignment in life, then we hope to provide advice, tools, tidbits from our experience to inspire people to walk that path and give people tools to walk that path. So, yeah, we'll cover various topics. And without further ado, hello.
Hello. Yeah, today we wanted to talk about navigating the waves of emotion, the highs and lows of emotion in our lives, because while we can have really good days and we love really good days, inevitably we're going to have some days that might not feel so good, and it would help us to have some tools to be able to navigate that, because we don't want those types of things to get us down and become chronic or last a long time or knock us off our path. We might be in a delicate situation where we just started implementing a new system, and low emotions can knock us off the path of that system early on if we let it. So I thought it would be a good topic because and during this week I kind of had this feeling. I had a really great day the day before, and then the next day was just feeling not very grounded, and just I don't know what to call it, but for me, like, the name I gave it was existential dread. And I think if we can learn to navigate these kinds of experiences, emotions, it can help us a lot. And in scenarios where we're trying to walk a path of fulfillment, these emotions can be signals. They can be dangerous to our systems. If our systems are weak, they can interrupt our routines and what we're trying to have going for us. So it's helpful to know how to understand, make sense of, and move through and leverage these kinds of experiences and not let them hinder us too much. For example, failure. We can either see failure as negative, or we can leverage it, see it as an opportunity. These kinds of emotions that are harder to work through are similar. I think why this topic was so fresh for me is because one of the days of this week I was feeling, I think I would call it existential dread, just not very grounded. And I think I wanted help navigating that. And so the tool I used, I'll go into a second, but I want to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah. Existential dread is a feeling I know very well. I mean, we all go through highs and lows. Not all, but some people go through lower lows, periods of depression, things like that. As you say, they are signals, right? They're signals that something needs to be taken care of that's probably not being taken care of. And there's a level of acceptance that I think can be useful, because when we resist these cycles too much, we talked about cycles in previous episode. When we resist cycles, then we end up spiraling even worse, because we might feel guilty that we're off our game today, and then that might make us feel worse, and then we're feeling guilty that we're feeling guilty, and we're feeling guilty that we're spiraling. You know, things like that, for example. So we can go into this further after you share your tools, but I think there is a piece of acceptance that needs to be had. And then the other topic that's coming up for me is resilience, right? Like after you get knocked off, there's a few aspects of resilience. It's when you get knocked off, how far do you swing? That's one piece. How long do you stay there? And how fast do you get back to your baseline? And then when you do get back, are you now lower than you were before, or are you higher than you were before in terms of you learned something, you're more resilient, and these kinds of things?
True.
So these are topics that are coming up for me, but I'm interested to hear what tools you use to navigate through those periods.
Sure. For me, the thing that I thought it was a signal was, I thought it was a signal of not being grounded. I tried to figure out what this feeling actually was, and I felt like mindfulness or just being present in my body and not being so caught up in all of my thoughts was the best path to take in that situation. And it definitely just slowing down and focusing on my sensory experience in that moment was super helpful.
The
acceptance thing is definitely part of it, right? Because if we get caught up in our head, then we're susceptible to those kinds of things like guilt, inner critic. Right. We're very susceptible. So if we drop down into our body and our sensory experience, it was just very calming. And I think that was what I needed in that moment. So if for someone going through this throughout your week, I would recommend just dropping into sensory experience if that's possible for you as a tool. And I would like to get into what some of the tools for you would be as well. However, the other thing is making meaning of the experience, I think can be useful on the path of fulfillment. It can also be a signal. I thought it was kind of a signal too of maybe not being fulfilled and not having something to be passionate about. And it could have been a signal of that too. So the techniques for navigating it and the making sense of it and leveraging it, I think those are like the three key things we should make sure we go through.
So how about we dive into the technique of navigating it? Because you're in it.
Right.
You're going to have to navigate it.
Right.
So as I said, I think the first part of that is accepting the reality of how you're feeling and where you are. We all are human. Probably.
That'd be crazy if there was non-humans.
Let's say this right now. We all are human. We all go through periods of highs and lows. We all get sad. Sadness is an emotion. Some of us get depressed. Some of us are sad for longer periods of time. Some of us go through tragedy. Some of us go through annoyances, which knock us off our game or make us sad. Some of us, there's a broad spectrum of the human experience.
Right.
And so when we get demotivated or sad or depressed or get knocked off our game, I think it's important to not feel guilty about it, to not feel bad about it, to not feel like we should not be feeling this way.
Right. That's the key there. Feeling like this shouldn't be happening.
Right. Because, there is no shouldn't. We feel this way.
Right. When we feel, oh, this shouldn't be happening, that creates a resistance, which just makes it worse, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It creates a resistance, and then it, I believe, in some way keeps us from actually dealing with the issue that it's signaling. Because now we're dealing with trying to avoid the feeling, avoid what it's signaling, probably these kinds of things. And it's counterproductive. And it makes us feel, it's a negative feedback loop, because we feel bad about feeling bad, then we feel bad about feeling bad about feeling bad, and then that's how you spiral. And so I think the first phase is acceptance. I'm sad right now. And then once you accept, you can inspect. Right?
True.
Yeah.
Right. That feeling of resistance, that feeling that I shouldn't be feeling this way, is a way of avoiding the actual information, the actual pain. But the funny thing is feeling that this thing shouldn't be is also a different form of pain. And this acceptance can help us to allow the flow to continue.
Yeah.
Instead of creating a dam and saying, no, sadness shouldn't be.
Right.
I don't like sadness. I don't want to feel sadness.
Right. Right.
And then that causes it to fester, stay there, and
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about sadness the other day, just like tangent. And I was realizing I don't think I would want to never feel sad. I think it's such a key part of the human experience. If I never ever felt sad, it would be hard to relate to other people.
totally.
Honestly. So I'm kind of grateful for sadness in that way, because, if you have a coin, you can't have the heads without the tails. Like, you can't have the front without the back. You can't have happiness without sadness, if you consider those two things to be opposite. The broad spectrum of the human experience each part of it richens the other parts. And so
Right.
they're all valuable.
Totally. And when we stop resisting each and every feeling and saying, this shouldn't be, then we're allowed to have that feeling enrich our experience.
Yeah.
Rather than degrade our experience.
Right. Right.
Even if it might be uncomfortable. You're not saying sadness is your favorite feeling and you want to feel sad all the time. You're saying you appreciate sadness for what it is, and you see the value in sadness, even though it's not comfortable.
Right. Right.
It still has value.
Right. Right. Not everything needs to be comfortable. Not everything needs to be dopamine inducing.
Right.
Right. So acceptance, and then we can inspect it. Right. Then we can say, okay, what's this actually signaling? We've talked a lot about listening to your body, listening for which parts resonate, which parts don't. This is another practice of that. It's a mindfulness practice. It's listening to what we feel, how we feel. Is our heart rate increased? Are we feeling a lot of tension, so stress, certain parts? Is this coming from a worry about something? Is this coming from a lack of direction? Is it coming from an uncertainty, a fear? These are questions we can ask ourselves when we're feeling these ways to understand. I think the biggest piece, I don't know if biggest because they're all important, but understanding is huge. If we don't understand, then it's going to be difficult to continue to navigate and grow from it.
Right. Yeah, I like what you were saying about after we accept it, we can learn from it.
Yeah.
We can learn what the signal is telling us. And that got me thinking, we can take these things lightly, be like, oh, it's just sadness, whatever. It'll go away eventually. Or we can take it really seriously. We had an episode about taking things not seriously, but we can take this feeling that we're feeling way more seriously and be like, okay, examining each part of the experience and really trying to understand it and look at it like a detective. And when we do that, then we really can get a lot out of it with the understanding piece. If we just brush it off and say, oh, it's sadness, it'll go away, we don't get that understanding piece. And if we just brush it under the rug, when it comes back, we're going to have to do the same thing again. And that trying to just say, oh, it'll go away eventually. Yes, I mean, it's going to pass. However, getting that understanding is kind of a way of making peace with it. And then also it allows you to learn the lessons from it.
Sure.
So what you get in is what you're going to get out. Or what you put in is what you're going to get out. So the more you investigate and look at it, the more you're going to get out of it, the more you're going to learn from it, the more you're going to be able to relate to other people about it. And be with other people in that state of sadness, because you've learned what it's to, like, you've learned all the little parts of being sad. So when someone else is sad, you can totally be there with them and relate in a way that's actually grounded in your experience.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a caveat I want to say is like, this doesn't mean when you get sad, then you're, okay, now I lie in bed all day and think about why I'm sad. That might be if that's sometimes you might need that. However, this doesn't mean you pause everything else in life and just live in the sadness.
It might mean that, though. If the sadness keeps coming back and it's intense, then it's signaling something. But not every time you're sad. Like,
right. But the inspecting it and learning from it and growing from it is vastly important. There are many times I'm sad, like, let's say someone treats me a certain way and I get sad about it. I reflect on that and I try to figure out, what about this makes me feel bad? Right? Because this is a tangent, but part of my philosophy is I don't want other people to be in control of my emotions. This is just part of how I think. And so when I encounter a moment in which it feels like someone's actions impacted my emotions, I reflect on where that emotional discomfort is coming from. And it reveals a lot about myself, not about the other person. I mean, it might reveal some things about the other person too. You know, some things about human nature which you can learn, which is also valuable. And even more valuable is the things I learn about myself, right? And I either learn something about myself I can work on, or I learn a way in which the past or my childhood still impacts me, or I learn an insecurity I have. That's usually the part for this particular situation. I learn an insecurity I have. And when I learn that insecurity and accept that, okay, I have this insecurity, then it's freeing in a sense, because I understand it. I can then know how to navigate that insecurity or work on that insecurity or strengthen my security in that arena or something like that. So that's an example of how inspecting it can help you grow and learn from it. Or you might learn that actually I don't have clarity in this certain area of my life. There's a lot of uncertainty here. Maybe I need some direction. And that's where my sadness is coming from. That's happening. That's another example from my experience as well.
Right. So when we accept the feeling, then we can try to learn what it's trying to tell us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess it's important to note that we're not saying think about your feelings all day and just lay in bed. For example, the morning I was talking about earlier this week,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like I just stopped what I was doing.
Sure.
I continued with whatever I was already doing,
Yeah.
but now my focus was more internal
Yeah.
because I had to address what's going on within me.
Yeah.
And it's not like that feeling is gone. Like I still have that with me,
Yeah.
but it's not like I stopped everything I'm doing. But the other side of it is we don't just continue and brush it aside and repress it. So it's kind of finding that balance. People are going to have to be the judge of what amount of reflection is right for them.
Sure.
I think finding that balance is also key.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to do analysis paralysis, but we're also not trying to just brush it aside.
Right. Right. There is a balance. And honestly, it's not hard to find moments where you can reflect.
Right.
In the shower, laying in bed at night, on your commute, in the car or on a bus, on the toilet, right? On a walk from here to there, right? When you tune out when your boss is talking to you. I don't recommend that. But, there are these natural moments where we tend to ruminate on things anyway.
Right.
And so we can use that for this kind of reflection.
Right. This does go back to the previous episode when we were talking about boredom, though.
Mm-hmm.
Boredom actually allows us time to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're always on our devices, always scrolling,
Yeah.
that's kind of a way of avoiding this reflection time. So
Sure.
just be aware of that.
Yeah.
I want to endorse the toilet style of reflection. Taking a good dump can always be very reflective. Yeah. The other thing I think to mention here is having habits that give you that time to reflect
Mm-hmm.
can be super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a morning walk, for example, or just giving yourself that, what did we call it? Cognitive rest time
Mm-hmm.
can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
The morning walk, definitely endorse that. But
Yeah.
habits that get you to reflect on a consistent basis, it doesn't have to be for an hour, it can be for like 5 minutes. But those types of habits, just want to side note that in there, that can be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, right. In a previous episode, we talked about doing it anyway, doing your tasks anyway,
Sure.
your work, your craft.
That does tie in very well here.
Right. Right. Because one of those things is doing it sad. And so I believe acceptance is a part of that puzzle. Because if you don't accept that I'm sad, if you think, no, I shouldn't be sad, and then you spiral, then it's hard to do other things because you feel like you're in a state that shouldn't exist. And so it really throws everything else off.
Right.
It's hard to do your craft if
it has to always be this one way. Like I always have to be happy.
Right.
If I'm not happy while doing it, then it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But this doing it anyway we're not saying do it anyway so you can ignore the feeling.
Right.
We're saying doing it anyway while feeling the feeling.
Right. Right. And then accept that you're doing it in a different state. So if you have a craft, right, it's actually beneficial to do it in multiple different states because now you have multiple different experiences with that craft and you create a much well-rounded relationship to that craft. If you know a person, if you have a relationship with a person, I spoke about this in the last episode, right? But reiterating, if you have a relationship with a person and you're only ever happy together, it's not going to be as deep as a relationship.
True.
If you experience all the emotions together.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And so treat your craft, your work, your passion, your path in the same way, right? Experience sadness with it, experience happiness with it, experience other emotions with it. I think it's beneficial.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like doing that, experiencing whatever you were going to experience with a new lens, a new aspect of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can learn how that impacts your emotions, how it impacts your sadness, for example, how your sadness impacts it. Maybe you realize you need to be sad to do the thing now. I mean, some people
You mean
feel like that with
musicians?
musician, yeah, exactly.
Or artists?
Writing, artists. Yeah. I would recommend that approach per se.
Hey, man, if it makes good music, just get sad.
Just, I guess. Yeah, so there's a level of accepting it and doing the life you're doing while still reflecting on the triggers of your sadness and the signals that it's indicating to you. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Do you have anything else you want to? I want to touch on the resilience piece.
No, I don't have too much that I want to touch on. I wanted to get like a slightly woo-woo just because I've been reading this book called Care of the Soul, and it's kind of talking about like the soul of different emotions
Okay.
and how your soul is speaking to you through different emotions.
Yeah.
So I think that lens can be interesting.
Yeah.
The lens of I mean, we talked about it already, kind of learning what is this emotion and telling me,
Right.
but giving the emotion more personality, more value, saying, oh, this is like the spirit of sadness coming to visit me.
Mm-hmm.
These are all different frameworks of
Mm-hmm.
meaning that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
So if that kind of resonates with you, I'm trying to integrate that more into my life.
Yeah.
That like spirit of animism,
Yeah.
where each emotion is kind of a different. I mean, in Greek tradition, those are different gods.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're angry, the god of war is overcoming you. So it's these different lenses of seeing
Yeah.
these emotions that aren't just, oh, it's just because of me, because of it's not, it's like all inside of me. It's like, no, like there are these spirits, these influences outside of me that are coming and visiting me. So that can be super freeing as well, and kind of release the burden. It's not just all inside my head.
Yeah.
It's because many cultures have seen it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Most cultures in human history have seen it where there are these outside gods visiting or these spirits visiting.
Yeah.
Our culture is the one where it's like, oh, it's all inside my head, psychoanalysis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to bring that kind of idea back, that it's not just all you. Like sometimes things outside of you happen, and these certain spirits visit you, and I guess the burden isn't all on you. It's not all your fault,
Sure.
and just letting them visit. This actually reminds you of the Guest House poem, like welcoming all these different emotions, where you're talking about acceptance.
Yeah.
And if you welcome them, then they're free to leave whenever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus holding them at bay, and they're just banging down on your door until they knock down the door, and just
Yeah. I mean, I do like that way of thinking. I mean, most, as you say, most cultures have been animist. Most past religions have been kind of an animist way of thinking, where different entities, different spirits, different gods come through. There's god of sadness, or god of this, or god of that.
Right.
And if you are given to that way of thinking, it can be very powerful. And even if you're not, it's still the same idea of, I'm sure you don't decide to be sad. It kind of visits you.
Right.
Right? And allowing it to visit and come through. And, when these cultures look at these other things as spirits or gods, because it's outside of them, you try to understand what they need, what their goals are, what brings them here, what pushes them away. Like you can study it. Sometimes when it's outside of ourselves, we're more inclined to study it like that. And so even if you don't think of it like that, I would encourage you to study it in the same way.
Right. And we don't feel that guilt about being visited by
Exactly.
sadness
Exactly.
because it's not in our control.
Right. Right. So, yeah, deal with it as they come. And I think so. I want to end on the resilience piece. I found this model pretty interesting. So this is actually a model from Alex Hormozy. Regardless of what you think of him, I found this model pretty interesting. He talks about resilience, and I mean, this is more grounded in the real world. He has this idea of mental toughness, and he talks about resilience as 4 different trainable skills. The first being tolerance, which is how much adversity you can experience before your behavior changes.
Interesting.
Right? So, how much, I don't want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this because this is the way I'm thinking about it. How much beating can you take before it starts to, you start to cry or something? I don't know. How much adversity can you experience before your behavior changes? That's tolerance.
Jeez, bro. I'm thinking about, sorry, there's this show called Outlander, and there's a few episodes where there's torture happening.
Oh, wow.
And it's how much torture can you take until you just give in?
Right, right.
But yeah, hopefully you're not in that situation.
Yeah, hopefully it's not an extreme situation, but it's in a sense I think learning from sadness, and for example, the example I gave, learning my insecurities and these kinds of things, when I encounter that insecurity again, hopefully I can encounter it without it putting me so far into that state a second time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like my tolerance to this experience.
Right.
I think this comes with acceptance too. We can accept certain experiences without it altering our states.
Right. I mean, it's okay to be affected by emotions. It's just we're not completely controlled by them. I think there's a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference.
So having that tolerance is I'm able to feel a lot of sadness. My depth of feeling, my ability to be affected by sadness might be really good. I might have worked on that a lot.
Yeah.
But then that sadness's control over me is not there.
Yeah.
Not nearly as much.
Yeah.
I'm still able to feel it. I'm still able to, be affected by it. I don't want to be a brick wall. I'm not numb to it, but I'm not controlled by it either. Is that kind of that's my view of
yeah. This is better. What I was saying, it's not. What I was saying is not the case in terms of it's not necessarily that it doesn't affect your state, but it's the case that your state doesn't necessarily change your behavior too much. Right? It's the same thing,
right.
doing it anyway.
We're not trying to be robots, right? We want to be able to feel emotions. That's what makes us relatable, but it's just not being overcome or completely controlled by it's okay if you're overcome, if you're already overcome.
Yeah.
But the ability to have that resilience to not be broken by an emotion
right
is different.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah, so that's the tolerance. It's like if you're walking a path, your sadness doesn't throw you off the path.
And if you have tolerance, then you have the ability to feel even more sad, but still not be controlled by it.
Exactly.
So your emotional depth can increase.
Yes.
Actually.
So the next piece of it is fortitude, and that is how drastically your behavior changes when it does. So if you're walking your path, and let's say you feel sad and it does knock you off your path, it's going to happen. How far off your path does it knock you? Right? Like, how much does your behavior change? And so the more fortitude you have, the less it actually alters your behavior.
Right. I see. That's another interesting one because we don't want to be completely unaffected. We don't want to if I'm sad, then absolutely nothing changes, because what we're talking about is maybe it's a signal and maybe something needs to change.
Sure.
However, again, I think it just comes back to not being completely controlled by an emotion and not letting it dictate where you're actually going, and just being like knocked along like a limp noodle, you know?
Yeah. It's not about you deciding to change something because of what you learn from being sad. I think this is more talking about the sadness itself. Does it take you away?
Right.
Does it just completely alter your entire motion?
I think this actually comes back to, if you're angry, for example, if you're angry at someone, and you want to punch them, and you do punch him, and you go to jail, you were controlled by that emotion. That emotion controlled you, and that led to an outcome that you, if you were not angry, you would have not wanted.
Right.
So it's, I really think about this, what you're saying is, how much are you letting your emotions run your life?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think oftentimes when we let our emotions control our behaviors, when we're not in that emotional state anymore, we're like, damn, I really shouldn't have done that. And so I think the level to which we have that self-mastery can really dictate actually how fulfilled we feel in life, because we feel like, I have self-mastery, I don't give in to smaller things like that, smaller temptations, these little dopamine hits.
Right.
The more we develop that not giving in to those temptations, the more fulfilled, the more in control we feel. And so that can be super fulfilling to know that I have that level of self-mastery, that I will not just be completely controlled by these emotions.
Yeah.
I can feel them. And not let them affect my actions.
Yeah.
And so that is what I consider self-mastery in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next piece is what he calls the actual resilience, which is, how long does it take you to get back to baseline, or how long does it take you to get back to the path you were on? Right. So if you get knocked off, or even if you get knocked off far, do you get back quickly?
Right.
Right. So when your behavior is altered, how quickly till your behavior gets back?
Right.
Or how quickly do you get back to baseline? Right. Because if it's going to take you out for weeks or even months, then that's a lower resilience.
Right. It's interesting though, because I mean, we are human. So for your example, when you took a gap year, maybe you need a whole year to be able to come back to baseline. That could be possible. But yeah, I think in general, if we accept, I think it depends on the rupture, honestly. Some things might take longer to recover from.
Sure.
But getting back to baseline is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, even if we're sad, we continue on the path that we're going, knowing that even though I'm sad, I won't let sadness completely dictate my life.
Right.
While I'm sad.
Right. And if it does knock you, if like you do need some time to more intentionally reflect or recover or deal with the sadness or deal with the cause of the sadness, getting back quicker implies a higher resilience in that case.
I see.
Right.
Yeah, so you're not saying always get back quick. You're saying get back quick relative to the amount of resilience you have.
Well, I think it's just a model of if you like,
right. So it's variable.
If it's I mean, if you're sad and it's just like, okay, I'm sad, and then okay, I'm back. That just implies you're more resilient.
I see.
Right. And of course that's going to change with the amount of the impact of the thing. Right. It's not, someone in a car on a drive says, fuck you. Like, that's not gonna like completely
right.
Right.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Of something that probably, if you don't let it get to you and you're just that doesn't affect you, then that's probably a good sign, right? If someone's just like, fuck you, and you don't even know them, and you're just like, you feel that like threat and then just goes away. Yes. That I would say I would prefer that to being like put off by that the rest of the day. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a great example.
Yeah. And then the last thing is adaptability. It's how you change because of the adversity. Meaning, when you get back to baseline, now where is your baseline relative to where it was before? Are you better for it or are you worse for it?
How much did you improve? How much did your tolerance go up?
And improve is going to be relative to you and your goals.
True.
It's not, there's no
absolute improvement.
Absolute,
it's all
better.
Right.
Yeah, there's no this is the way you should be. It's relative to you and your goals and the life you want to live. Right.
Did you take another step because of that?
Right.
Did that move you forward? Whatever forward is for you.
Right. So if you have higher adaptability, it's when you experience a bad thing, you are now better able to walk your path because of that bad thing.
Right.
Because you extracted the value from that bad thing.
Right. Did you get the value from it? Yeah.
Yeah. There's value in everything. Yeah.
That's a cool framework. I think I need to work with that framework a bit more, because I guess my perspective sometimes is I see it as like, oh, grind set, like super left brain, like, oh, like robot type. But I think there's a way of understanding it that's not that.
Yeah. It's not, I don't think it's that, because as you said, you don't want to be, because we all have a life we want to live, right? And we don't want to be completely controlled by outside factors.
Right.
That's not the way to walk the path.
Right.
You're not walking at that point. You're just being blown.
Right.
If you want to do that. If that's
a form of walking for some people.
It's a form of walking for some people. Like, you just completely,
Right. I mean, it's just what fulfills you.
Yeah.
Like, what feels more aligned for you? Do you feel more aligned if you're simply, going about, being open to opportunities? Or do you like, okay, I want this path, I'm going to walk this.
But either of those things is something you want.
Right.
And this framework is all relative to what you want versus what you don't want. Right. So if the adversity changes your behavior to a behavior you don't want, or if it changes your behavior very drastically to something you really, really don't want, right? Or if it takes you super long to like re-begin the behavior you want, or if you get back and then the behavior you want is far out of sight again, then that implies...
Right. I think this is, when I think about the behavior I want, I imagine a higher self, like the best version of myself. What is the best version of myself doing? And where's the delta? Where's the difference between those? And if that emotion takes me farther...
Yeah, exactly.
Then that's the sign of I need to improve my fortitude or my tolerance or my adaptability.
Yeah.
But if it takes me closer, then it's like, okay, my adaptability is moving in the right direction.
Right.
And that higher self, that best version of you, is kind of up to personal views.
Yeah. So it's not grind, ignore your feelings and just keep pushing. It's accept the feeling, listen to it, adapt to it, work while you have it.
Right.
It's
use it.
It's use it.
Use it, learn from it, help it to make you better.
Better. And again, better, you define it.
Right.
You define it.
Closer to that version of you that you want.
Yeah. It's all about what you want. This is fulfillment, right? It's not about what anyone else says you should want. It's about what you want.
True.
Yeah. Cool.
We should do an episode about figuring out what you want.
We should. Did we not? Wasn't that like the second episode or something?
Might be good to revisit it.
We can revisit, yeah.
But yeah, I feel pretty good about this topic. Like,
yeah. Cool. All right. So as you go about your day, we have some prompts for you to consider, some question or thought. Do you have one?
Sure. I would say, as you go about your day, maybe once right now, just take note of your state, your experience, your emotional experience,
Mm-hmm.
and just notice if that's affecting your behavior at all. And if you knew about it previously. And see if you can take a moment to reflect on if you yeah, if it's affecting your experience at all, and if it's affecting your behavior at all.
Mm-hmm.
And what you might be able to learn from it.
Mm-hmm. I have two. My first one is, next time you're reflecting on an experience, I'm going specific, of someone hurting you, let's say, and I'm not talking about any like serious foul play or anything like that. I mean, someone said something, let's say, and you got hurt. See if you can find an insecurity that hit inside you. And I'd like you to inspect that insecurity more. I think for me at least, this has helped my adaptability. And so I'm curious to see if that can do the same for any of you. My next one is to kind of reflect on this framework of tolerance, fortitude, resilience, and adaptability. Again, tolerance is how much adversity you can experience before your behavior changes. Fortitude is how drastically your behavior changes. Resilience is how quickly you get back to baseline. And adaptability is how you as a person change because of the adversity. Are you better for it or worse for it? And kind of reflect on those, and in your life see how you can increase any of these four skills, let's say. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, hit that like button. It would help us out a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more. Share with a friend. And hit the notification icon if you want to be notified of our next episode.
If you're still here, you're the GOAT.
You're the GOAT. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your life.